It's time for Rabbi Minkowicz's Weekly Torah Lesson, a place where life's most difficult questions are answered. Here with his spiritual perspective and insight, Rabbi Minkowicz.
Welcome to this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Vayikra. The question of the week is, how can you transform any interaction into a warm and loving experience? So in this week's Torah portion, Parshat Vayikra, on the first word of the Torah portion, and actually the whole book is named after the first word, Vayikra, Rashi says that Vayikra, what does Vayikra mean? Vayikra means a language of chiba, love, warmth, which is interesting because you find in the Torah portion a similar word, Vayikar, without the aleph, which actually means an interaction which is totally distant and cold. Not only that, but the root of Vayikra is kar, which actually means cold. So you go from kar, which is cold, Vayikar, which is a cold interaction, to Vayikra, which becomes a warm interaction. And the Rebbe asks the question, how do you go from cold to a non-warm interaction to a complete warm interaction? And the Rebbe says, very simple. Look what you're adding that's making kar into Vayikar up to Vayikra. The only thing you're adding in Vayikra, which is not in Vayikar, is the letter aleph. Wow. Seemingly it's just a letter. But the Rebbe says no, it's deeper than a letter. What does aleph resemble? Aleph resembles aleph, namely God. God is the only one thing that really exists. And aleph resembles oneness, unity. So in other words, the Rebbe explains that when you take any interaction, as cold as it may be, as maybe even hostile, if you bring the aleph into it, as you bring the aleph into Vayikra, if you bring God and the oneness, if you can find a place where both of you agree, both of you see eye to eye, then you can take any experience and transform it from a cold, hostile, or distant relationship into one of true love and warmth. So to answer the question, how can you transform any interaction into a warm and loving experience, is to remember the way the aleph is dropped into Vayikra. And bring the aleph into every interaction, namely God, and more importantly, the fact that we are really one, that will transform any cold, hostile, or indifferent interaction into a warm, loving interaction, as the name Vayikra with the aleph represents. This week's Torah portion is dedicated to the memory of Eliyahu Ephraim ben Yosef. May his Nechamie have an aliyah for all the Torah we are studying in his memory. Thanks for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. Please join us for live classes at Chabad. Thursday morning, Nechamie gives a Parsha class at 11 o'clock. Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, there's a class on Kabbalah based on the teachings of the Arizal. Shabbos morning, we have a Kabbalah class based on the teachings of the Rebbe at 9 o'clock, followed by davening and farbrengen. Again, thanks for joining us. Shavua Tov, and have a great week.
It's Steinomite.